Gentle greetings, everyone. I hope everyone is in good health and spirit. Today, we're going to be having a heated debate with brother PENUEL Mlocho. Yeah, so besidonsana impela nje. Hey. Kunjani bhuti? Awubatshela abantu ubani wena kahle kahle?
KHULANI.
Yebo.
VUKA DARKIE.
Njalo mfethu.
Thank you very much for the invite to yourself, to your team. I don't know so much for heated debate, more educational, I hope.
The thing is that what I like about debate, it sharpens contradictions. Gonna be an exchange of knowledge, and so we're gonna be adding value to each other and also to the audience at large. So that's what I'm looking at for Yabo. So in fact, we'll be having a discussion. I think that would be a proper.
No, it's definitely a debate.
Definitely debate.
Ngizengijimile,
But if it's a debate, just know that I'm gonna murder you.
How?
Yes, sir.
Like that on camera? At least there'll be evidence.
Okay.
For people that may not know, I go by the moniker PENUEL, the Black Pen, on social media, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I've been making a lot of educational videos. Myself, DJ Sbu, some other people I've worked with have been doing a lot of podcasts, especially this year. But I'm very big on education. I'm very big on upliftment. I'm very big on empowerment. I'm big on human beings becoming better than they were before. Besides that, I'm a serial entrepreneur on the side. I don't speak much about my business because for people that don't like me, abatagati, I don't want them to try and sabotage what I do.
Yes.
Been some controversial things I've been known for this year, going around telling people that I'm God because I have my own religion. Joining AfriForum as a movement, which is largely for Afrikaans people and other minorities in South Africa. And then just some of the interesting interviews I've had this year on the PENUEL show.
You even interviewed me, my brother. And
Even interviewed you, of course, on the virtual Cook with DJ Sbu. But yeah, I think in a nutshell, it's that. I'm an author of 13 books, father of 6 children.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to be a voice for certain people. Not for everyone, not for black people, but for certain people that vibe on my frequency. So that's me.
When you say not black people, are you saying that you don't identify yourself as an African or what? Before we start the topic, I just want clarity with regards to that.
So I do identify myself as an African, but I'm of the belief that you do not have to be black to be African. I have left the concept of blackness in its current form because it has a lot to do with pain and struggle and misery and suffering and poverty. And I don't want to be linked with that anymore.
Okay.
I've left the Zulu nation officially. Whatever that means to people, but it means I do not bow to the king of the Zulu.
Yes.
I do not live on Ingonyama land, which is under the custodianship of the Zulu king.
Okay.
I do not follow Zulu customs.
Yes.
I'm my own person. I have my own beliefs. I'm building my own nation of Penuelists under Penuelism. So yeah, but I do identify as someone who was born in Africa, which makes me an African by definition. I do identify as someone who was born into the Zulu nation. So therefore, a big chunk of my identity, of course, is Zulu. Ngisasikhuluma isiZulu, of which some people say stupid things like, if you've left the Zulu nation, don't speak Zulu. And I'm like, but I speak English and I was never of the British nation. You know, it's a language, it's a form of communication. So that's me. I identify as African for now, but I would like to be seen as a global citizen and to be seen as someone who has certain strong values of my own and to find my own people.
And I thank you kindly. Kira, let me just also give you a glimpse overview about also myself.
Sure.
As me, I'm a Pan-Africanist, you understand? I believe that Africa is for all Africans, spanning the continent to the diaspora. I believe in African unity. I believe that through black unity, we can reach greater heights. And through the platform that I've created, VUKA DARKIE, it is geared towards restoring black pride and dignity and also adding value to the collective consciousness of the black community, understand? And also to kill the black inferiority complex, which has been widely inculcated in the collective consciousness of black people. Speaking of inferiority, today, the topic of today, which is the topic that you came with,
Yeah.
You came, by the way, he came with the topic which, okay, he says, why are black people inferior? And
That's not the topic. The topic is black people are inferior.
black people are inferior. But even that topic, it's wrong because black people cannot be inferior. But nonetheless, I'm going to give you a chance to state your argument. Why do you think black people are inferior?
Is this me?
Yes.
This is between me and you. No? It's
Yes.
not me and you and the camera.
Yes, yes.
Okay. KHULANI ngiyabonga mfethu.
Akubonga
Ukuthi
mina
ungimeme,
mfoka baba.
Ngiyakuhlonipha kakhulu.
Nami ngiyakuhlonipha mfethu.
Ngiyakuhlonipha umsebenzi owenzayo. I come from a history, as you know, mfethu, of pro-black, black consciousness myself,
Indeed.
thanks to Obantu Bigo,
Yes.
Omangaliso Sobugwe, and other such leaders. Of course, we can go overseas to what the Nation of Islam has done, Malcolm X, Minister Louis Farrakhan, now Elijah Muhammad. We had Marcus Garvey, who was an amazing leader for black people.
Indeed.
We've studied some of the books, we've studied some of the greats, even on the continent. I started the Buy Black movement at some point, as you know, and I left it when I decided to move from being pro-black to becoming non-racialist, which is what I am today. The reason I wanted us to speak about the topic, Lena, is because I've come to visit you at Kaslako.
Yes, indeed.
You took me to Ishisa Nyama,
Black-owned Shisa Nyama.
Black-owned Shisa Nyama.
Yes, indeed.
And we had some conversations. We recorded it, I think, on Facebook Live, if I'm not mistaken.
Very, very classic.
You visited us, myself, and DJ Sbu, who's very pro-black himself.
Indeed.
On the Hustlers Corner / the Virtual Mkuku.
Indeed.
And I remember saying, look, I want to speak about this thing about Darkie.
Yes.
Because you have issues with some of my stance and where I am today. And I was saying, look, I love black people.
Yes.
But I have a lot of issues with black people. And as far as I know, when you look at it historically and statistically,
Yes.
black people are inferior. And you are like, no, Baba.
Yes.
I'm happy to debate that. And I think today is that day. We speak about slavery. We speak about the exploitation of black labor on the continent.
Yes.
We speak about black people being exploited, even overseas where they were taken as slaves.
Yes.
We speak about our mineral resources that were taken on this continent to enrich the Americas, the Europes. We don't speak much about the Asias. Asia's also become enriched by some of our minerals, maybe not in the type of colonization we know, but in their own neo-colonization that they've used. About that.
Because I'm trying to say that often people they're trying to maybe focus on saying white supremacy. They forget that it's not history based. When I say that, just trying to
Yes, a lot of those other nations only care about their people. When you look at the history and all of that context, I cannot see an argument for why I would say black people are superior. The aspects that make black people are superior are normally physical. If you look at melanin, if you look at the black skin, the fact that we don't get skin cancer easily, that we can weather so many elements out there, that we are naturally strong, can lift heavy things, that's why we were taken as slaves. For me, that argument of physical superiority is not different to describing a horse or a donkey. You're celebrating that you're a good machine, a good tool. If you want to claim that, by all means, you can have it. By all means, you can claim that you're superior from a physical, but you're comparing yourself to a tractor or a hammer. But now from a psychological perspective, for me, that's where Umnyama in particular has failed time and time again to ever show that they are equal or superior to any other group on earth. And it's because of this mental inferiority that today Abantu are still oppressed. And even what they call liberation is still in the framework of a European or an Asian context.
Okay, first and foremost, you say that black people are inferior sexually. That's what's
That is my argument.
I would like to disagree with that because now we cannot say black people are inferior without giving that's like speaking from an art historical point of view without referencing to reality. want blacks to be in the position that they are in. Understand? They are in the position that they are in by virtue of what colonization. Understand? We are not solely colonized, we are also colonized mentally. So there was a seed of black self-haters who was widely planted in the political contest of black people. Now, being popular. So now, they have set most of them find intellectuals within white firms adding value. So now for you to see the people of Inferior, when you look at even in America, the music industry, the entertainment industry is because of black American. Without black American, America wouldn't be where it is. Even from inception, when they started taking slaves from Africa, they didn't just need what is the physical power, they also needed what? Mental strength. And our mental strength is also demonstrated in also some of the monumental architects that we have built, such as the pyramids, which are to this date recorded as one of the greatest monuments that ever been built. And they were built by who? By Africans. And they are beyond scientific explanation. You understand? Because us as Africans, we're a people of melanin, we're a people of spirit, you understand? Some things are beyond scientific explanation. Even the pyramids, the constructions of the pyramid, you understand? The Japanese, they tried to replicate the pyramids. They failed. You need to understand that the pyramids were not built with your so-called Chinese technology. No, like you need to understand that our civilization as Africans was disturbed. You understand? So now, for you to view Africans as inferior is to view them from an historical point of view, and also to neglect the fact that as Africans, we have been colonized and are still to this day colonized. We are at the receiving end of all the economic inequalities. But now, you cannot say that we are inferior, even to this day. Yes, and earlier on, I was speaking about Ipatu. Patu is a black creative genius. We are here in Newtown Junction Mall. Did you know that I had a store here in Newtown Junction Mall. My store was next door Patu. When Patu came here in Newtown Junction Mall in 2017, he revived the place, a black guy. And but I'm going to speak in collectively, Patu team, which is black owned, it came and revived the place and added value to this place. Now this place is being revived. Now to say that we are inferior, this is just the tip of an iceberg. Like, Please Call was invented by us as Africans. You understand? So for you to say we are inferior is an insult to our intelligence as Africans. It's an insult to Africans who have dominated even the sport of basketball. Did you know that back then, when basketball started, it started as a predominantly white sport. But when black people came in, they started to do a Muslim dunks, and now it is black people who are dominating the sport. Even in tennis, when black people are given the power and the opportunity, they come in there and then dominate. You find that Ignabo Serena Williams dominating. Even now, there's Naomi Osaka is the one dominating the sport. It tells you that each and every time when black people are given the opportunity, they dominate the sport. You understand what I'm saying? Even in cricket, I'm not going to go overseas. That's black excellence. You understand? So you cannot say that we are inferior, my brother. That's where I disagree with you, respectfully.
So I need to add this disclaimer that I'm not here in my personal capacity.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are probably going to take offense from some of the things I'm going to say. So I need to explain that in this debate, I am coming on behalf of white supremacy, on behalf of other races and other nations that look down on the black mind and on the black person. So I looked only in advance. I should have done it earlier.
Okay.
The understanding of many people is that Africa was the beginning of life.
Yes.
Which normally comes up as a contradiction when black people speak about pro-black and African, because I don't know where that leaves other races. If you're saying they all came from here, is the first thing.
Whether they came here or not is neither here nor there, you understand? What matters is that what have they done to us, and it's also a historical account that we can date with these people.
Yes, but who is they if they came from here?
Every time,
If they came from
even
here, they're not
our
African.
encounter, even that, you understand, is not even conclusive that they come from us.
So you don't agree with that?
No, there's no conclusive evidence that shows no proof.
So you don't agree
where
that
they
life
come from.
started here?
I don't, because their nature is not human, and us as Africans, our nature
you're
is
saying
human.
life didn't start here?
Yes, Africa is the cradle of humankind.
It can't be a
Therefore,
cradle if you're
it
saying
is
it's
a
not.
human or a cradle of human thought. You understand? Hence why I'm saying when you say we are inferior, that's an insult. You understand, my brother, to the intelligence of the Africans who built the pyramids, to the intelligence of Africans who built great civilization, even the inventions.
Ungibizela
that-
ukuthi ngizolalela wena.
Okay, continue, my brother.
Oh,
Sorry.
ngiyabonga.
Sorry.
So a lot of people know that humanity started here. So it leaves the contradiction of the Chinese, the Europeans, the Americans. Where do they come from if not from here? It would mean that they are African. The pyramids that black people love claiming, largely when you track history, seem to have been built by Arabs. Arabs
Built
using
by Arabs.
yes, building using black slaves.
Where-
If you look at the middle, angazi ngikhulume noma ngilinde.
No, akhuluma.
Angazi, I'm not sure.
Sorry.
Oh. If you look at the people from Egypt that are close to the Middle East, claiming them as African just because they happen to be on the same continent is quite weak and cheap and convenient. Because I want to know where your southern, middle, central, western, black, dark immigrants, what they've built, where are their pyramids? I can easily claim so many things of people close to me. I can claim ESCOM, which was built by South Africans, but it was built by a white Afrikaans man. I can claim other things in West Africa by Nigerians, but those are not my people. I haven't really built anything. I'm just claiming because it makes me feel good inside. All the isolated examples that you're using of black excellence is black excellence on European systems. Where are the black basketballs? Where are the black NBAs? Where are the black, whatever you want to call it? You want to speak about isolated one Tiger Woods versus however many hundreds of white people that have dominated golf, or all the white girls that have dominated tennis because of one Serena Williams and her sister. It's convenient and it's something that comforts you. If black people were so strong, they would not have been colonized. Fundamentally, the fact that someone got into your head and to this day is still an excuse for why you're at the bottom of the food chain speaks to how weak your mind is. If your mind was strong, you'd be able to pick yourself up, but it's not. It swims in victimhood, in complaining, in wanting to claim a few people that are not even yours. Those people don't even live with you. They don't even enrich you. They enrich other groups. The NBA is a huge money spinner for white America. The teams are owned by white people, not black people. The black people, they are no different to us chasing or racing dogs at a racetrack. Watching black athletes like you do on Django when Leonardo DiCaprio gets two slaves to fight each other. And we must celebrate that, not celebrate what black people have created for the advancement of black people as a collective. The pyramids are not a black success story, and it's sad that black people to this day still claim them. The pyramids were not built with tractors, they were built with slaves. Arabs that were enslaving your black people. But you want to celebrate that. You want to celebrate slaves that were taken to America and then given in the NBA a platform to entertain white people, and then given trinkets. So they can be like, look at your black brothers that dance around for us. Look at Beyonce who dances around for us. And we must celebrate that as black excellence. What is Beyonce doing for Africa, for black people? I don't want to make an example of Umfowethu Uthio because he's done an amazing job with Tipatu. You know, I want to keep this generic. That's why I'm mentioning all Beyonce, people we don't know personally. But if you look at the success stories in South Africa of business, a lot of them, if you were to track their balance sheets and their income statements, don't enrich black people. If you look at the value chain that they use, it does not enrich black people. If you look at the malls you're speaking about, where they were plying their trade, they're not owned by black people. Again, you want us to look at a little black person who is being celebrated, who is actually enriching a bunch of other nations. And you see that as a success, when all those other nations would never let you do that to them. They would never come to you, whatever mall you built for yourself, and come and be paraded. They would never come to a sporting code that you create and come and be paraded. They will never do that. But you do that.
But
Because
they managed to come
the
to
mind
my
will
land.
hold on to almost anything that looks like a little bit of hope.
Okay.
Because you will not accept your truth. Your truth is you're at the bottom of the food chain. You're almost just slightly higher than maybe a dog and a horse in your physical prowess. In how it's like a white man being like, look at what my dog has achieved. And you're saying, look at what blacks have achieved. They built it as tools. All these things, you are no different to a hammer, no different to a shovel being used. And you want to claim that as greatness. And if I'm saying, if you're so great, do it again. And do it over and over. And
Most
go and
definitely, most
recolonize
definitely.
or
Hence
go
why-
and
hence
counter
why
colonize
even-
those people that
Okay.
colonized you, to show how mentally superior or strong you are. And stop showing me how, as a dog, you slept outside and you were rained on and you were beaten and you still get to laugh today. Because it emphasizes to me how weak and low and at the bottom you are as a people.
Yes. And I'll start by your first statement. You said that you discredited what you called. You said the pyramids were built by Arabs, which is a fallacy. You understand? The pyramids were built by Africans. You understand? There's also archaeological evidence and proof which shows that. You understand? And now you cannot say, because now Africa is what you call Egypt, which was formerly known as Kemet, is a country that's in Africa, and Africa is a continent of Africans. You understand? There's no Arab that is indigenous to Africa. Therefore, it doesn't make no sense for you to give credit to Arabs. You understand? It's like, I'm really disappointed in your intelligence and in your lack of research and development. If you knew better, you would knew that Africans are the founding fathers of the pyramids. The Arabs, they invaded Egypt. You understand? They are not indigenous to Africa. You understand? Let me tell you what is an African for emphasis purposes. You understand? Let me say, okay, what is a non-African? A non-African is someone who came with the boat here in Africa. Arabs, they came with the boat here. You understand? So stop giving credit to people who don't look like us for the civilizations that we built, for our own inventions. So when I made...
Where did you get your history from?
Wait. I gave you a chance to speak.
No, I'm asking about the
When
history you're referencing.
Wait. Pardon?
The history you're referencing, where did you get it from?
Like, there are African scholars such as your Cheikh Antidope.
No, I'm asking you.
Let me. Yeah, Cheikh Antidope, an African scholar. He also conducted research and development.
You got your history from that?
Which proves that even the mummies, he was a what you call, Cheikh Antidope was a researcher, was a well-renowned researcher. The nice thing about Cheikh Antidope, he was African centered, and his research and development, it proved that the indigenous Africans of Kemet, which is Egypt, are Africans. He conducted, which is now, it was later called what you call carbon dating. Carbon dating, what was replicated from Cheikh Antidope, a system which now is used, which mind how to which born which okay, right, le muntu oshonile, what race is he, was he black or white? It was Cheikh Antidope, you understand? So the research and development, it dispelled the myth that Africans are not the real Egyptians. You understand? So I'm talking about research and development. I'm not talking about what you call philosophies or what. I'm talking about
No, you're
science.
lying.
I'm not lying. Even is out there. Check Antidote.
You're lying.
I'm saying that even the system. You
want me to accept a lie?
No, I'm not. I don't want. I'm saying that research for yourself.
One person.
No, I'm saying not one person. I'm just trying to say with it, that person, he created
One person.
I'm saying that is a most monumental form of history and research that
By
is
one
important
person.
for this debate that we are having today, which
Because it suits your agenda.
You said Egyptians are non-African. I'm saying
You
that
can't
there's
tell
an
me about
African
you can't tell me a KHULANI about one
that
person.
conducted research
You can't
and
tell me about one
development
person.
that proves that the original Egyptians are Africans, which is there on the archives. Even people who are watching, they can even extend and do their further research or development. But let me continue. When I made reference about basketball, NBA. I was trying to put into emphasis that even subsequent to being colonized, you need to understand that an African, so-called African American in America, it was difficult for them, you understand, subsequent to the slavery to make ends meet, you understand, to run things. So I'm saying that with that little opportunity and platform that we're given, they managed to dominate the sport. Even now to this day, they are still dominating the sport. I'm taking in terms of melanin, and we were talking about physical strength there. And I'm not saying that we should limit our physical strength. Now, when I'm making a classical example about check anti-top, I'm trying to demonstrate to you our mental strength. You understand? We dispelled their myth, and it's not limited to just solely them. You understand? We have achieved many things. So I don't know which one we should because now ukhuluma ngokuthi okay, right, some of the entrepreneurs who have made it is only individualistic success and what, but end of the day, people such as about they create jobs for over 1,000 people, whether direct or indirect jobs. They create jobs, you understand, which is a work in progress. You need to understand that we cannot erase 500 years of slavery with just 28 years of so-called democracy, which is an illusion of inclusion that we were given. Even the so-called politicians, they don't hold no power. They don't have no power. You understand? They are just under the leadership of the likes of Rupert Oppenheimer. Those are the ones who are running the country. You understand? You cannot define black power under the so-called elite compromise leaders and say that is the barometer to measure success. You cannot also say which is now because now they are given farmers farm land, and then when they fail to farm and then they say black people they can't farm. Through the platform VUKA DARKIE, I did demonstrate and show you farmers who can farm, who are running their farms fruitfully without no white participation. You understand? Now, for you to say that we are inferior is to insult our ancestors. It is to insult us who are putting in the work. Are we still together so far?
I'm here. This debate is making me very sad, and I'm wondering if we should carry on.
Okay.
I've got I have a very deep love for abantu abamnyama, and I think it's that deep love that led to me almost wanting nothing to do with them,
Yes.
because it hurt me very deeply. You know, in everything you're saying, I can debate on each point, and after we debate and you beat me or I beat you on each point, I ask myself in my head, to what end? If the pyramids were indeed built by dark-skinned people, how does that help me and you?
It does help us. Is that a question? Oh.
No. We're going to debate history, which is introduced to us by various people. Whether you want to choose white history that's given to us, or whether you want to choose, there's this new history that's coming up now, that people are now discovering. And you don't know if that's true or not, or if it's just more stories. Because the one thing I know about language and stories is that you can make people believe anything you want. There can be an amazing Chinese leader that can convince Chinese people that the pyramids were actually built by Chinese people and show scriptures or text from long ago. But we can't verify that because we actually don't know. And ultimately, it almost doesn't matter.
The pyramids are still standing to this date. I can still take you to Egypt tomorrow. And also there's archaeological evidence.
I don't think you're listening to me.
Okay, continue because you'd say I'm disturbing you. Continue.
No, it's not about disturbing. I'm not even speaking about the pyramids.
Okay.
I almost don't care. I almost don't care, and I'm just worried. I know why I came here, and I know what we are supposed to be doing here. And if I'm going to be debating you, what does that do for the black nation? What does it do me bashing abantu abamnyama here when we have a platform? And I'm just saying with like njoba ngihlela like ngizubhlungu. Ngizubhlungu I'm at a point in my life where I am trying to not see color. Because I've realized how destructive the race conversation actually is. And I realize how many bad black people we defend because they are black, including some of our politicians, including black slave traders back in the day, including, if ever it was black people that built the pyramids, those guys that enslaved their own. We protect them because they're black. And yes, we celebrate some of the good black people, but some of them are good, but they actually don't care about the black agenda. O.J. Simpson, Tiger Woods, these guys don't care about the black agenda, but we're going to celebrate them because they're dark-skinned. And in that same conversation, we end up almost discrediting good, white, Indian, Arab, Chinese people just because they are not black. And then obviously we emphasize on the bad ones, which is convenient, but then what? It saddens me and it worries me. And I think even on the platforms that I've created this year, and some of the stuff myself and Usbu have said is, let's try and focus on education and upliftment. And I don't know if debating history is going to help us. Maybe what we can do, ngiyacabanga nje, is speak about the current condition and how to get out. The people that lived 500 years ago, none of them exist today. So as far as we know, outside of our grandparents and great-grandparents, we don't even know if that history is true. We don't know. We hold on to it because it gives us a sense of purpose, identity, some inspiration. What if there were universities in Timbuktu?
Okay, I'm saying that history is very much important, you understand? Because now history is like a navigator, a car navigator. It shall take us to our rightful destination, in the sense that it's like that memory that we have lost as a black people. And we cannot be operating from an historical point of view to say that we are living in from it now. How can we come up with solutions towards the problems that are intergenerational, that are a bypass product of colonization and imperialism? And also to say that we should not see color and put everything and sweep it under the carpet is an insult to our ancestors who have been robbed of their knowledge of self, who have been stripped of their culture, stripped of their Ubuntu, dehumanized. As a consequence, even now, a great deal of our people, they are lost in the knowledge of themselves, which is a historical account. Now, history is important. It's not just for us to feel good, to say, Marcus Garvey did this and that. History gives us references to this is how Marcus Garvey did it. As Marcus Garvey is a black person operating within a black experience, I, as a black person, by the way, I was inspired by Marcus Garvey to start this platform we are in now, to start the VUKA DARKIE, an African guy, you understand? That's history that I learned, you understand? That history, it inspired me and propelled me forward to create a platform that now has millions and millions of views, almost 500,000 followers, you understand? International, a Pan-African movement. I was inspired by a historical account that transpired. I didn't just study it to say, Marcus Garvey was just a black guy. I studied, and then I studied how did Marcus Garvey do it. You understand? So because now you need to understand that the past, the present, and the future are all intertwined. You understand? What is happening now is a bypass product of what happened back then. And what is going to happen in the future is what we are doing now. So whatever we do now is in preparation of what will transpire in the future. And for us to do it better, we have to reference to the past. You understand? Indlela ukuthi sihambe sephambili. You understand? That's the most progressive that's the best step. You understand? It's my title as a black race. You understand? And to say that you don't see color, you don't see color, but color sees you. You are marginalized because you are Africans. Economic racism is still happening, but people are marginalized by virtue of being robbed of their land. You need to understand that land is the basis of economics. You understand? Now, by virtue of the minority controlling a vast amount of land at the detriment of us Africans, it means that I cannot now open a store there and there because of what? Gentrification, because of what the big four places which own most of the malls, they control as to which tenant must come in and mind your business. Therefore, you cannot divorce color from civilization, because even now to this day, it is us as Africans who are at the receiving end of all the economic inequalities of poverty, and that is a consequence of colonization, which is a historical account. And when we speak about history, as community history that we got from white historians, there are African historians such as about Chekonto, such as about Dr. John Henry Clark, such as about Dr. Abu Singh, such as about Dr. Rashid, and the list is exhaustive. Understand? So don't limit your research development to white scholars, because you need to understand.
No, because I've consumed a lot of content from them.
Yes, and I understand. Hence why it shows now that even now in Umoya, we train and socialize to serve and maintain. Now, it's why we are speaking about you. Now,
I'm not sure if I was trying to serve white people.
No, I'm saying that now, since we're ready to distance to say that you know some color, it means that even when you buy, you're buying behavior, it's going to add value to other nations, because you're not thinking black. Even when you do certain things, you must think black, yes, because us as Africans, we are distinct. And now, when melanin, we choose it just to our physical strength. And melanin is beyond us having physical strength, is having that powerful motor function. Even black kids are superior because women faster, quicker than they walk quicker than a white child. Which shows as Africa, which is the topic that we're speaking about. Now, when we are being colonized, now, as much as no matter how powerful you are, when you are robbed of your knowledge of self, you are not functioning from your authenticity. Your thinking is alien from yourself. Hence why most of black people are advancing the white supremacist agenda, and because you think through your stomach, you understand. Sometimes as an Africans, you need to understand Wuti.
You speak about me?
Oh. So you need to understand Wuti, Tina, as Africans, we don't die. And you spoke about is all in the past. I mean, as a now, I'm a returning ancestor. I'm continuing the legacies of Marcus Garvey, Steve Biko, Malcolm X, I told him Lentole. Continue a legacy, so I will never die. And whatever I do now will outlive me through my successors, whom I'm training, through my offspring, through my children. You understand? What makes us distinct as Africans is our spirit. We have that spirit. Hence why we have rain queens who can forecast the weather, who can call upon the rain, which ignite. But with white people, you cannot rain queen. They manipulate the weather. They manipulate the weather using the science that they learned from us. But that's not the story for it. So us, we have that spiritual power, which makes us distinct, which is the topic of today. Hence why I'm saying that black people are superior.
Um, I don't wanna I don't wanna go hard on knocking black people.
I mean, go hard because now I'm knocking your white friends here.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Joba Silana, we're speaking English.
Exactly, which is a colonial imposition.
Yes.
And most of our followers, we have an international community and they speak English. And English is just a medium. Never mind the English, listen to the content. You can carry on.
We're here speaking English. We're
Yes.
dressed in European clothing.
No, these are not European clothing. I repeat again, stop giving white people credit because now clothes were invented by Africans. This is just modernization which was appropriated from us Africans. Let me just give you also a glimpse history about the history of clothing because I'm in the industry of clothing. I make hand woven shoes. I have a brand of shoes. So I've done extensive research with regards to that. So it's a lie that white people they came here in Africa and then they dressed us. We were naked, wearing animal skin. You see the problem with learning your history from white philosophers and historians. You become miseducated. When you look at even the way our history is so distinct and powerful, it's even written in stones. Even most of our artifacts, the oldest artifacts yet cloth, which is clothing, hand-woven cloth, was derived here in Africa and is exhibited in the British museums. Most of we are Britain museum overseas European museum. They have our clothing artifacts. Even if you can look at Nama Egyptians, what they are wearing, they are fully clothed. So to say we are barbaric and primitive, that's just a what you call white inferiority projecting to us to make us to feel as if we are inferior, as if like they civilize us. We were already civilized before white people came here on our shores. You understand? In fact, we are the ones who civilized them, and then they took advantage of our ubuntu. You understand? This history is very much important. Hence why I'm even writing books myself. You understand? So that we document such. You understand? And my books are written in research and development, concrete research, not the yeah, yeah. Qhubeka bafo.
So we're here speaking English. We're
Yes.
dressed in clothing that is of a European design.
A European design appropriated from Africans. Hence why I even put that into emphasis. I even gave you a historical reference to say with Impahla were invented by Africans. We were fully clothed. You understand? So you need to understand what colonization did. It also disturbed our civilization. It also disturbed our inventions. You understand? So when you speak about that, hence why when I problem you are historical, you don't refer to history. You just look at things which say black people are like this, are poor, are landless. What led them to be poor? What made black people? I'm asking you that question. What made black people to be poor? What made black people to be landless?
So we're here speaking English, dressed in European design clothing, and we're trying to create content for a American-owned platform, which is going to make money off this conversation. We're currently living in a, we're currently staying in a design, architectural design, which is not intrinsically African, and we're going to be enriching other nations in the work we're going to be doing even today.
But we want to be enriching our people mentally and also trying to fix here what we are doing. We are trying to fix all that 500 years of colonization and also which is still happening to this day. We are starting to fix that. You can continue, my brother.
So we're here speaking English, which is not an African language,
Yes.
dressed in jeans and t-shirts.
No, like, by the way, I'm wearing a VUKA DARKIE t-shirt. These glasses are made by Zazazel. You understand? A black-owned brand. Also, this watch, this smartwatch, is made by an African. It's Afri smartwatch, Koi watch. You can follow them and check them out. I'm wearing Bomba sneakers. I'm wearing jeans by Azishenism. I'm trying. It's a work in progress. You can continue. Take your time, or you need water. Give him some water there. Yeah, my king, are you fine? I'm kaivati lapho mkainevati. Ifuneka ivati mfethu.
I've got water, thank you.
All right. Oh. Are we still together so far, mfethu?
I'd like to concede. I'd like to admit defeat. You're right. You're correct. I'm wrong.
It's like we are not in a battle here, my brother.
Sure.
It was just a discussion here.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. My mind is colonized. I am ahistorical. I am lost. Black people are superior to other races. I guess there are no problems for the black nation, and maybe we just need another 500 years for black people to find their way again and to become dominant again. And people like myself don't know what they're talking about. And all the other nations that currently dominate, exploit black people, it's just a matter of time before they see black people rise again. Conversations like this make me sad because they make me realize that I think for pro-black, black consciousness people, they will never win. A lot of denialism, a lot of holding on to flimsy content that even if it were true, changes nothing. A lot of defending clothing that wasn't made here, textiles that were imported from somewhere else, platforms that are not native to Africa, smartwatches that were probably imported, if not the parts. Because it's better to lie to each other and to live on hope and to reference black people who failed and were killed, because it makes you feel better about yourself. And other nations are going to carry on doing what they're doing because they are inferior to black people and they are lost. And black people will continue to be the supreme race. And those of us who are lost will keep seeing them as not that, because we are lost. So I concede. You are right. I'm wrong. I'm happy to take my being wrong and carry on with it, than to continue pretending to be pro-black, like so many people out there who, through all their actions, enrich social media platforms they don't own, enrich banks they don't control, because they are chasing money selling products and merch that they claim is pro-black, that is probably imported, if not bought, from Asian stores and rebranded using machines that were imported from Asian countries, because it makes black people feel good. And maybe they're right. Maybe the colonization was even a mistake. And maybe the spirituality of black people is so strong. Maybe they weren't even colonized and we were misled. Maybe African ingenuity and intelligence is showing us an illusion. And it can't be that small groups of foreign nations could come into this powerful continent and be able to bully such a strong nation with a strong spirit, strong physically, so intelligent. The people that invented the universities, that came up with literature. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm happy to be wrong. Because when I used to be right, I got nowhere. And I saw black people drunk on alcohol as a majority. I saw black people raping each other. It was brought by white people and colonization, sure. They brought it, but here they are raping each other. Seeing black people killing each other, brought by colonizers, because there were no wars in Africa before white people came here. Black people lived in peace.
Of course,
and they were thriving. That's why,
speaking of that, because I
that's
even
why
heard,
they were migrating. That's why there were issues of land, because they were at peace. And maybe black people are wealthy now and I can't see it. And maybe their leaders are black leaders and they have democracy today. And they celebrate black business people who are thriving. And maybe I'm just lost. The path that I've chosen for my life is a non-racial path in particular because I've actually realized how dangerous grouping an entire race is. Because the reality is there are sensational black African people around the world. It is a fact. And it is a fact that the majority of whites, Indians, Chinese are not brilliant. They happen to share a race with certain brilliant people. And they go and they claim success. ESCOM was not built by white people. It was built by a white man with a handful of people that were supporting him. Same with Sasol, same with Telkom. If you look at what Facebook has become, Tesla has become, Elon Musk does not represent all white people. He does not represent Africans, does not represent South Africans, he does not represent people from Pretoria. He represents Elon Musk and the people that work with him.
Elon Musk.
And what happens when you make it a race thing is you take away
Let me tell you
all
one
the
thing.
amazing black,
we're
Indian,
speaking of
Chinese people that work at Tesla, that work at SpaceX. If you look at Silicon Valley as a space, the majority of people that live in Silicon Valley are not even white Americans. They are Indians, they are Chinese, and there's a lot of foreigners that are from Europe, Russians. It was Russians that built WhatsApp. It was the children of immigrants that built Google. It wasn't Americans. Christopher Columbus was a Spanish fellow. There are individuals that are brilliant, that are great, and they are loud. Beyonce Knowles herself, Tiger Woods, these are amazing human beings. And when an entire race claims them, it is so upsetting for me because it's not a race victory, but we've made it such, and the race politics
when we celebrate the likes
keeps
of
us away from
Tiger Woods,
what we should be focusing on, which is, for me at least, finding good people and working with good people. We're using electricity today that wasn't introduced by black Africans in South Africa today. We might say, arguably, it was a black African that invented it, but it was one person.
Yeah,
and now I must claim that
radiation was invented by an African, and
I must now
radiation forms an integral part of electricity. So, to a certain extent, electricity
good people
was
that allowed us to use the electricity in the format that we're using it in today. I
all
celebrate people that
an
work
African
hard.
guy that invented
I celebrate people
radiation.
that invent. I celebrate people that allow us to live a progressive life that allows each and every one of us to move forward. And the fact that we focus so much on race is actually destructive, and it hurts me because I was wrong to agree to come here. I was wrong to agree to come here and debate a brother that I love and respect and admire so much on behalf of an entire race of people who probably don't care. A race of people that are the reason why today you're in a wheelchair. A group of people that won't support your brand and would rather
But now,
support
speaking of
other people that have oppressed you. And it's not the race, because there are a lot of good people in the race that are supporting you, that do believe in you, that would fight for you, that would die for you. It's just race politics for me has caused so much destruction. And I do celebrate Bigo, Sobugwe, Garvey, Malcolm X. I support all of them. They were amazing men. But I also support Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and all the amazing non-black people that have done so much to allow us to thrive just as humanity. And I'm not going to celebrate white people that killed and raped black people. And I'm not going to celebrate black people that rape and kill other people. And I'm not going to celebrate Asians that take from other nations and kill people, because once you make it a race thing, you bunch everyone together. And you end up fighting
and
the
you need
wrong
to understand
people.
when you're speaking, because
When there are
I
good
gave you a
people that want to
chance.
work with you, and it becomes a mess, because I came here for you. I didn't come here for black people. I came here for the people that go on
I represent black
that
people.
support you, that want you to win, that want us to win. I came here because there are so many people, especially and in the majority black people, that support me, that fund me through watching my stuff, through donating, through buying my books. And I'm also here because of the non-black people that support me as well. Those are good people. And I don't want to divide them, and I don't want to make the mistake of continuing with the division and the destruction that so many dumb leaders have done, whether white leaders or black leaders. Because a lot of them were supported by people that weren't even of their race. But we're not allowed to speak about that. We're not allowed to speak about it because it doesn't sound cool for the race. And I know for myself, at least I'm tired. And I'm happy for you to promote VUKA DARKIE. I'm happy for you to promote your platforms. I'm happy for as many people as possible to support you, and not just black people. People that believe in you. People that know that if you become wealthy, if you become successful, so many other good black and other people are going to win, are going to succeed, are going to thrive. And I think that's why I came here. And not for people to look at two black guys who actually love and cherish each other and admire each other to squabble and see who's the smarter black, who's the more educated black, who's more black, for the entertainment of people that actually don't give a flying fuck. When we have a unique opportunity to actually empower people, to speak about, let's grow our own food, let's make our own clothing, let's move to China and take over some of the factories. Not as black people, but as people within our community. Let's build, let's create jobs for people that believe in what we're doing.
But now,
so that we can win.
Now, you cannot divorce race from the topic that we are speaking. The mistake you make is to think that racism is just individual. You need to understand that racism is structural, you understand? Even you spoke of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a white supremacist who represents the white race. And another thing, at the topic of today, I'm trying to stick to the topic. So it's all about, you said black people are inferior. I'm trying to put into emphasis, you see, the inferiority complex is something that was entrenched on us. It was imposed on us. You understand? So even through them glorifying the likes of Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, putting them there in our face to see they are the epitome of success. We should aspire to be like them. You need to understand, Witty, representation matters. When a black child, like I for instance, I studied this movement when I was 22 years old, VUKA DARKIE, you understand? I was inspired by Marcus Garvey because when I look at Marcus Garvey, I see myself. So when I look at Elon Musk, I don't see myself. Ngisakhula ngiseseyintwana, when I see a white guy driving a nice car, I don't feel moved. But when I saw a black guy driving a car, I become moved because I see myself there. You understand? You are a black person as much as you try to dissociate yourself from blackness. You are an African. You understand? Even though maybe by your consciousness, you say you identify yourself as a human being, yeah, well, blah blah blah, you understand? But you need to understand, with the Chinese, they put the Chinese first. The Indians, they put the Indian first. Even white people, they do put white people first. Therefore, it's not racist for us to put our own kind first. We were marginalized based on color. So in order for us to solve these problems, we have to solve them based on color. We have to have pro-black policies that are geared towards addressing and redressing all the previous injustices that were imposed upon us. There's a great African scholar by the name of Dr. Says to forgive without justice is reward injustice. And the same thing about us. You have to refer to yourself as South African. You say you're South African, it belongs to all living. But when you look at two realities, that a population of a white minority falls under 7% of the population. They produce a vast amount of land, which is more than 80% of the productive land. And us, we are just left to compete amongst each other over those limited resources. You understand? So now, to say that we should put color aside, it's not dealing with the problem, because we are marginalized based on color. We are where we are by virtue of the components are based on the color of our skin. Even to this day, we are still based on the color of our skin. So now, to say it should not be about color, we think it is about color. Even when you look at maybe the economy, even when you look at even most of the policies that we use to this day in South Africa, they are policies that were implemented by the government. They still maintain and sustain white power. So if you say you don't see color, you don't see the problem in those policies which are still maintaining and sustaining white power as our detriment to the benefit of the white child. And also maybe you can say that, but not all white people are, but all white people are beneficiaries of economic racism. They still benefit to this day. They don't want to take the blame for what they are for, but they still inherited this land. If their intentions are not good, they should equalize the economic give back the story while they have inherited, which brings me back to the first point that I said: to forgive without justice is to reward injustice. There was no justice that was done here. There was not even their apology. We don't want no apology in the form of one apology in terms of redistribution. It's like a person stealing my father's car, you understand? And then, I have a right to come back as including my father's car. And so we cannot say now, yes, my driver saw we have to fix that thing first before we can speak about what. There's no such thing as a reposition. Reposition is just a revolution of inflation. We have to speak and spaces. Well, right now, we are speaking at the comfort of our own privilege. We are speaking for your stomach. You were pro-black because it was benefiting as a teacher. And so being pro-black, want to be fruitful, want to be beneficial. And the style is shifting. And also you say you join AfriForum. When you think those meetings, they won't include invite you when those meetings when they're discussing matters of the country, they invite you as a broker. They just want you because you're a good promoter. You understand? They want you to use you. Yeah, so just like they use the lives of the mental arts. You understand? So I cannot say much because yeah, they can. You understand? It's time we do like an African. You understand? We should be the topic should be how can we focus? Okay, since what you're saying which they are trying like okay, they might not own anything for point of production, but it still is a way. Now the solution should be how can we come together to building and setting up factories that will supply those those are the things. How can we translate grocery stock fails into business stock fails towards funding means of production? How can we own our backyard factories? Those are the things, that's the topic that maybe perhaps I wanted us to delve into. But when you were just blaming, you were just saying, yeah, black people are this and this, and you are being ahistorical. Each and every time you spoke, I tried by any means necessary to give you a historical account of in each and everything we're you spoke about electricity being invented by a white person. I'm saying with radiation, it's a black guy, black people, and which is the foundation of electricity. So another thing, you always give credit. I'm saying it's important to share a research yakho, learn about yourself. After this, ngizokusendela incwadi ufunde ujime thola beyond incwadi namanye ama-scholars ongawafunda kuze manje ukhulise ingqondo yakho, because now what I see ukuthi ufunde into zeyingamla kakhulu, so your mind is too Europeanized. You were given a white Superman, you were given a white Jesus, you were given about Elon Musk, Steve Jobs. So to you, white means superiority. So Tina, as VUKA DARKIE, ours is to counteract that by portraying you positive images of Africans, positive stories of Africans who are living in a wide dominated world, you understand, in a wide reality that is being imposed upon them by virtue of what? Of colonization. So everything, it boils down to colonization, and also the solution should be how can we unlearn everything, you understand? How can we re-educate ourselves from an Afrocentric intellectual orientation so that we can come up with solutions that will solve our problem? Black power and white power can never coexist. You understand? You cannot say with you by virtue of being there with AfriForum, you are going to be given which you'll be owning. Okay, bazokupha as an individual, just like they did about Patrice Motsepe, to give us that illusion of inclusion. But that's not success in P2. I mean, I believe that success should be communal. My success should add value to other people's success. So angazi ke ngibona ngathi umoya wakho phansi, should we continue or what? Yeah, Baba.
It's completely up to you.
Okay,
I believe in segregation.
yeah, you believe in segregation?
I believe in segregation.
I also believe in segregation.
I think the mistake that the apartheid government made was segregating on race. I think the mistake that a lot of people make in segregation is segregating on race.
But that's what most other racial groups do. It's only us who think like that, who think it's a mistake to do like that. What makes us then?
So I believe in segregation based on values, shared values. And I think part of the reason we struggle with race politics, etc., is the fact that we focus so much on race that we forget values. And that's why it's easy for certain people to give you certain so-called leaders and role models who actually don't represent you and your people. And by your people, I don't mean black people. I mean people who have the same values as you. And I think, and I implore more people to look beyond race, gender, nationality, because there are so many people who share some of your values. I joined AfriForum not as a gimmick not as a way, not for clout to trend. I've been speaking about AfriForum for many years. And even when I founded the Buy Black movement back then, I mentioned to the members that, there's no reason why we can't start something like AfriForum. I think AfriForum has done a lot of good work, including in certain black communities. Part of the reason I give them money is not for black people, it's because I support what they do.
So in essence, you're saying you're
One of
giving
the things I
AfriForum
realized,
money.
one of the things I realized with AfriForum is the fact that they're not a white group, which I think is one of the mistakes a lot of
Correct, it's a white supremacist group.
people make. AfriForum as an organization represents Afrikaners, which includes white, colored, and black Afrikaners.
Black Afrikaners, what's that?
And it includes fighting for minorities that feel like their voices are not being heard in this country. I do not fit the scope of who AfriForum fights for. I don't. I am not Afrikaans. I don't identify as Afrikaans. I don't identify as a minority. But when I look at the work that they're doing, border control, where our government has failed, when I look at some of the potholes, all the potholes they close on a daily basis, work that the government is failing in.
But they are doing it for their
When I
own benefit.
when I look at the fact that they put their hand up after many years, with the Mayua family crying for justice, they put their hands
But
up
they
and
were
they
doing
said,
that for cloud.
we're going to take some of our money and put it in this because this is an important case.
Yeah.
When I look at there's a royal tribe in the Free State that have helped to reclaim their dignity. I can identify with a group that does work like that. And AfriForum is just an example. If you look at what Gift of the Givers does, and Gift of the Givers was founded by an Islamic group, not a racial group, an Islamic group. They do amazing work. AfriForum is not a white group in the same way, or rather it doesn't fight for white people in the same way Jewish groups don't fight for white people. As I said, AfriForum has got a specific group of people that they fight for. And it's not all Afrikaans people, by the way. Otherwise, they have a lot more members. There's a lot of Afrikaans people, specifically white Afrikaans people, that don't like what AfriForum does. They don't like where they spend some of their money. Jewish people don't fight for white people. They fight for Jewish people. Now, do they fight for black Jewish people? I don't know. In South Africa, 70,000 Jewish people, which are, I'd like to think, white people. But when they circulate money amongst themselves, they're not circulating money with white Afrikaners and white English people.
They're
circulating money with Jewish people. I say this because one of the reasons I admire Ubantu Bigo, in my understanding, was that he wasn't fighting for all black people. It's my understanding, and it could be wrong. My understanding is that he was fighting for black people that identify with black consciousness, which is an understanding of what it means to be born of this continent, what it means to embody Ubuntu, Umuntu, Muntu ngabantu. The idea of saying, you are one of us, let's work together. Even if you look at the black community programs that they had, building clinics, the community gardens that they had, which is some of the things that I push on social media. When people call me names, those are the things I speak about. The people that didn't identify with that, regardless of race, would not fall into black consciousness. But black consciousness was funded by, I think it was the Anglican Church, and specifically there was a white bishop who helped Ubantu Bigo. The Anglican Church in Europe funded some of the black community programs because they understood the work that he was trying to do. Good work for his people. His people happened to be black, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't black. It was a value system of black consciousness, which means if a political party like the ANC believes in non-racialism, believes in helping these people, and they do not embody black consciousness, then they cannot be part of the black consciousness movement. So for me, what this conversation has done, besides making me very, very sad, besides conceding that you're right and I'm wrong, it's just the realization that, I need to really, as I started with the Buy Black movement and leaving, as I've done to say I'm non-racialist, as I've left the Zulu nation, I need to actually spend more time working with my people. And I think you have an idea of what your people look like. And I think you need to fight for your people. I don't know if just by virtue of the fact that I have melanin, I fall into that by default, which I think would be a mistake for you. We're closing off. You need to fight for your people. And you need to aggressively define what your people are so that they are not infiltrated by people that look like your people but are not your people. This may include myself. And I need to do the same. I need to aggressively define who are my people, regardless of race, because I'm non-racialist. And I need to work for those people. And when I come on platforms like this, I need to be very careful of who I'm speaking for. I started at the beginning here saying, representing white supremacists. I don't even know what that means. So I apologize for even saying that to yourself and to everyone else, even to white supremacists who are going to be like, no, fuck that nigger, fuck that kafir. He doesn't speak for us. I actually don't. To any white people who maybe supported apartheid, who support the oppression of black people, I do not represent them. I do not know what they stand for, and I'm sorry to them, and I'm sorry to yourself and other people. To black people who are very pro-black, who are black conscious, who are pan-Africanist, who are fighting for the black child, if they feel they are right, they must carry on fighting for their people, and they must be very careful of letting people that look like them get into their spaces. And to them, I apologize if anything I said was offensive. I need to focus on my people, who I believe are good people, regardless of race, who share certain values of community, of doing good work, etc., etc. And the last thing I will say is this. We need to be very careful. I know this example of someone stealing your car, or your father's car, and then it's a great example that the Nation of Islam likes using and other conscious blacks like using when they're like, yeah, but Nelson Mandela let people steal your car. We live in a system of capitalism today, which I think is largely destructive to everyone in the way it works today. Nature is free. Nature is and has always been free. Land is and has always been free. When anyone comes and claims land, whether it is colonizers, whether it is Africans who are going to say, this is our land, land is free. And when you're going to say someone stole your thing, you need to be able to stand up for what it is you claim they stole, and you need to be willing to do whatever it takes to get that back. But I need to emphasize that, to me, you can have a right to occupy land as a people, whoever you may be. And you have a right to defend your occupation of that land. And you have the right to defend yourself from anyone coming to disturb you. And you've got a right at any given time, speak about justice and injustice, to later on say, we used to occupy this land, we feel what you did was wrong, and we're coming to not beg you to reclaim where we stayed, not beg you, we're coming to forcefully come in here by any means necessary, as Malcolm X used to say. But the concept of that something of yours was stolen when it is a natural resource is part of where I think people are lost. But I will say that when a group of people want to be identified and they feel conquest is what it is, dominance, personally I see nothing wrong, and I think those that are offended by it must be willing to fight them back. And I think for me, I just want to thank you for this platform, because besides the sadness, for me, number one, I love you very much. I love the work you're doing at VUKA DARKIE. And I hope I can add value in what you're doing for you and your people. The epiphany that I had in realizing that I need to spend more time defining who are my people and fighting aggressively for my people and defending them. And if it means we have to conquer other weaker nations regardless of race, nationality, religion, gender, I'm going to be working towards doing that. And I wish all the people, if ever they see the emergence of that for myself and for my people, I wish them nothing but the greatest of luck, because the previous colonizers and other people that have oppressed nations, I feel have done nothing major compared to what I could potentially do
in the future, given the amount of power that I'm able to wield. And I will not let people speak on platforms, debate and negotiate. I will completely shut them down and eradicate and exterminate them by any means necessary, because I feel that my view and my vision, what I want for the world, is correct. It is why I call myself God. It is the reason why, after all the laughing and the podcasts and people calling me names and sellouts and trending on Twitter, if I get to my true power source, I wish all those people the best of luck, because what they will see will be nothing short of the greatest force of their existence and of anything they've ever heard of in history, whether fabricated or otherwise.
Thank you kindly. So, yeah, I see, let me just say my last point. The problem is that your aspirations and you trying to integrate doesn't match the reality. The reality is that Rainbow Nation solely transpires in TV, not in reality, you understand? So we have to also understand that, as much as you said earlier on that white people do have their own differences in terms of, you find the Jews advancing for the Jews, Afrikaners advancing for the Afrikaners. But let me just take a hike back into memory lane and just give you a glimpse overview as to how you remember during the Anglo-Boer War, which transpired in 1900. You understand? It transpired in 1900. The British were fighting against the Afrikaners, and then the Afrikaners were defeated by the British. That's on that war. And you remember, on that war, there were also PENUEL, who were also black people who were co-opted by the Afrikaners at that time. You understand? They were promised greener pastures to say, subsequent to us winning the war, we're gonna give you this certain land, this certain portion, and what. So they were collaborators, black collaborators within the British faction, so to say, or camp, and also they were black collaborators within the African camp. Now, subsequent to winning that war, the British, they didn't honor their promises in terms of the black, and then they told the Afrikaners, they said, you can still have control over the land in terms of agricultural black child at the receiving end, you understand, to advance whatever ends. So 2 minutes. Yeah, so that's the point I'm trying to emphasize, that black power and white power can never coexist, because white power seeks to dominate, whereas black power seeks to empower black people. So now there's a clashes of perceptions, you understand? So your aspirations, you wanting that being included, it doesn't match the reality. The reality is that we live in a colonial world, you understand? So ours is to try to decolonize all territories, you understand? Try to decolonize the education system, try to decolonize all colonial territories from a broader dimension. That is ours, you understand? Ours is to unlearn all the miseducation that we've been taught. I think that's my closing. Ours is to unite based on color and based with the strategy, not just uniting we are blacks and white. And unite with the strategy, because we can unite for drinking alcohol, we can unite for beer stockfels, grocery stockfels, then we can also unite for our business stockfels towards propelling the black race, given the fact that as Africans we are still at the bottom of the economic food chain. So in order for us to catch up, we have to put our race first, we have to be race centered in order to bridge and solve all the previous injustices that were performed upon us. And so we have to mobilize on color. We have to have an economic program. Our biggest problems as Africans, we don't have. Today we're going to be left with how many years? 199 years. So I'm saying that let's start now. let's build with what we have, you understand, with the aim of owning value chain, with the aim of owning land through platforms such as Abu Ekasi Noble Property, which I'm part of. I'm at the process of owning my land through that. We cannot be waiting for the government to give us the land because they were given authority by the white supremacists. So they don't have power, the black government. They are just running office under the leadership and the administration, the leadership of white supremacists. So yeah, my brother, I mean that's what I will try to kusingisho nje kuphela yabo.
Khulani, ngiyakuthanda kakhulu mfethu.
Ngiyakuthanda kakhulu.
Please carry on with the fight. I love you very much.
Differ, but you understand, the mission is still one, you understand? Yeah, I'm a spirit, my brother. It was nice having you.
Ngiyabonga mfethu.
Thank you, Bafit.